Hello, welcome to Emily Cat 176. It's Wednesday and I'm going to be doing poetry on Wednesday again because I like poetry and I hope you do too. So I'm starting the year with an Australian poem that was published in 1881. So, where the pelican builds its nest. The horses were ready, the rails were down, but the riders lingered still. One had a parting word to say, and one had his pipe to fill. Then they mounted, one with a granted prayer, and one with a grief unguessed. "We are going," they said as they rode away, "where the pelican builds her nest." They told us of pastures wide and green, to be sought past the sunset's glow, of rifts in the ranges by opal lit, and gold 'neath the river's flow. And thirst and hunger were banished words when they spoke of that unknown west. No drought they dreaded, no flood they feared, where the pelican builds her nest. The creek at the ford was but fetlock deep when we watched them crossing there. The rains have replenished it thrice since then, and thrice has the rock lain bare. But the waters of hope have flowed and fled, and never from Blue Hill's breast come back by the sun and sands devoured, where the pelican builds her nest. How do you like that one? It was written by Mary Hanny Foote. There's a sadness to it, I think. It's talking about the landscape and it's talking about searching for something and the harsh environment, because when they talk about the West, they're talking about West Queensland. And for people overseas who don't know, if you look at a map of Australia, you look at its head on, Brisbane in Queensland is on the east coast. If you head west, you keep heading west, you will come to the Northern Territory border. But West Queensland is a very hot, inhospitable place, really. And in recent times, farmers in that area have actually left and gone to Tasmania because they say it's too hot to farm these days. But Mary Hanny Foote, she was from Scotland, 1846 to 1918, and she was born in Glasgow and she died in Bundaberg, which is in Queensland. She had an interesting life, and she was living in this area because she and her husband went to Paru River in southwest Queensland in the 1880s, and she was in this area when two brothers, Cornelius and Albert Prout, they were originally from Sydney and then they moved up to Queensland, and in 1877 they set off from Western Queensland towards the South Australian Northern Territory border area to search for land, and were never heard of again. So this is, I think this incident inspired this poem, but there's a sadness. Their parents have lost their sons. I like it though. There's a rhyme and a reason to it. Because it's also with the pelicans, because for people who don't know, we are told that most Australians live within 50 kilometres of the coastline. As a lot of you might know, Australia is a big country. There's a lot of desert. It's very arid. There's a lot big, the outback. The outback's huge in Australia. And the pelicans that live in Australia, they nest far away from the coast, and then they trek to the coast to get food to bring it back. So yeah, interesting. But as I said, Mary Hanny Foote, she was in the area at the time this happened, and I think she would have known about it. But when her husband died, she went to Rockleah near Brisbane, and she opened a private school. And this is when she began to write, and this is how this poem came about. It's very true though. Yes, as I said, we're having heat waves now in Victoria. Who knows what the temperature's up north? It's very, very hot. Our summers are changing and they're getting hotter and hotter. And as I said, West Queensland is a very hot area. So that's it for the first poem, Where the Pelican Builds Its Nest. I hope you enjoyed that one. So enjoy your day, and I will be back on Friday. Bye.